Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this session we are going to see dimensionality reduction technique in machine learning. There are two main types of dimensionality reduction technique. The first one is feature selection and the second one is feature extraction. So in this session we will cover the feature extraction techniques, okay, which are principal component analysis (PCA) and linear discriminant analysis. Along with the PCA we are also going to focus on kernel PCA. Okay, so let's start the session. So PCA is considered to be one of the most used unsupervised algorithms and can be seen as the popular dimensionality reduction algorithm. So PCA algorithms are used for several operations such as visualization, feature extraction, noise filtering, stock market predictions and many more. Okay, so the main goal of PCA is to identify and detect the correlations between the variables, and if there is a strong correlation found, then you can reduce the dimensionality, which will easier the PCAs which are intended for. So usually again with the PCA the goal is to reduce the dimension of a d-dimensional data set by projecting it onto a k-dimensional subspace where the k is lesser than the value d. Okay, so for overall breakdown and wrap up the PCA, the main functions of the PCA algorithm would be to standardize the data, to obtain the eigenvectors and eigenvalues, to sort the eigenvalues in descending order, to construct the projection matrix W from the selected k eigenvectors, and finally to transform it to the original data set. Okay, so as a summary, PCA is not like a linear regression which will try to predict the values, but it will always try to attempt to learn about the relations between the x and y values. Okay, so in addition to that, it also has a weakness that it is highly affected by the outliers in the data, but as we all know, it is considered as one of the most important and most used dimensionality reduction technique in machine learning. So without wasting much time, let us try to implement this algorithm with the help of a case study. We have considered the data set wherein the information we have collected about the wine. Okay, and this data set is borrowed from UCI machine learning repository. So this data set will provide you the various information about the alcohols starting from this alcohol up to this proline. Okay, so here each row corresponds to a wine, and for each one we have features associated with it. Similarly, for each of these wines we have the customer segment to which it belongs to. Okay, so you can see here there are several features and information being collected about the wines here, like alcohol, okay, malic acid, ash, and magnesium, total phenols, flavonoids, and more. Also you can see till proline. Okay, and at the end we have also categorized all this alcohol based on three segments here. So you can see the segment number 1 and segment number 2, also the segment number 3. Okay, this is what we have it in this data set, and altogether we have 180 observations of the wine information. So now let's take a scenario that this data set belongs to a wine merchant with many different bottles of wine and to sell it, and therefore we can expect a large number of customers. So as we can see that we have three different categories based on the segments here, segment number 1, 2 and 3, and each of the segment were corresponding to the certain groups of customers that are similar preferences for a similar wine. Okay, so the owner would like to reduce this complexity. Okay, the entire complexity would like to reduce from this data set by ending up with some smaller amount of features, and at the same time the owner would also like you to build a predictive model that will be trained on this data set, so that any new wine that this owner has in his shop we can easily deploy this predictive model applied to the reduced dimensionality reduction data set, and we are able to predict which customer segment this new wine belongs to. Okay, and due to which we can recommend this wine to the right customers. So this is the main theme of this case study. So for this case study we would like to create a predictive model. Okay, so before we design a model, we have to apply some dimensionality reduction technique. So after we apply this dimensionality reduction technique, are we able to reduce the number of features? Okay, so altogether how many features we have? If we count it, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 features we have. So we are just trying to reduce these 14 features into less features. For example, I can take 2 3 or 4. Okay, so after that we are going to design the model and try to predict the values. Okay, let's see how to implement this using Python. Okay, now let's try to import the necessary libraries. Okay, so we require 3 libraries here: NumPy, Matplotlib and Pandas. Okay, let's first try to import these libraries by executing these 3 lines of code. We can see that in the console we have successfully imported all the required libraries. Now it's time to import the data set. So don't forget to set the path here. Okay, we have to set the proper path, then only we will be able to import the data set to the data frame here. Okay, so I'm going to execute this line of code using pandas.read_csv. We are able to import the data set to our frame, and you can see that in the variable explorer the data frame has been created by the name dataset. Okay, and here you can see all the values have been successfully imported. Okay, starting from alcol to the proline along with the dependent variable vector, that is customer segments, right? And now it's time to split up the data set into a matrix of features X and a dependent variable vector Y. So among all this data set, so from starting from the alcol till the proline, we will be considering it as a independent variable vector. Okay, and the final column, that is the customer segment, we are going to consider it as a dependent variable vector Y. Now to split this, what we are going to do means we are going to invoke a method called ilocate from the object dataset, and through this we are going to consider all the rows and all the columns except the last column and take up all the values and store it in a matrix of features X. So X will hold all the columns except the last one. Okay, and the Y will hold all the rows but only the last column. Okay, so we can execute these 2 lines, and of course you can see later on in X we have till proline except the last column, and also in Y we have only the values of the customer segments 1 2 and 3. So there are 3 segments here. Okay, now after we do that, we have to split the data set into training and testing, which is most required for training our model. So what we do means we try to import the class called as train test split from the module model selection. Okay, we do that using from sklearn.model selection, import this class, and finally you have to create an instance of that class by passing various parameters such as matrix of features X, dependent variable vector Y, and the test size. Okay, as of now we are given 0.2, so out of 180, 20% means 36 data. Okay, so this 36 data we are keeping it for testing, and rest of the data we are going to keep it for the training purpose, and the random state is 0. That means for each and every time we execute, the values should not vary. Okay, so we do that, and of course we are going to put it up in the 2 pairs of data. Okay, xtrain, xtest and ytrain, ytest. Okay, to train the model we required xtrain and xtest, and for the testing purpose we required ytrain and ytest. Okay, now execute these 2 lines of code and verify the variables in the variable explorer. Yes, you can see that xtrain data, how much we will see out of 180, it has taken only 142. Okay, around this much, right? 0 to 141, 141, total 142. And of course for the X test, it also taken 36 data. Okay, total 36 data, right? So this is how much it has taken. Now we can try to apply the scaling mechanism. Okay, so as we can see, the data here in XTrain and XTest, the data are not in a right scale. Okay, all the data have been scattered here. They are not in a single range of values. Some are in 13, some are in 11, some are in 12. And so to bring it up into the right scale, we have to apply some feature scaling mechanism. And the method what we are going to apply it in feature scaling is standard scalar. Okay, standard scalar. So we are going to apply the standardization approach in feature scaling. Okay, so we will apply it for all the columns here, because none of the columns are in the single range. So now let us try to apply it for all the columns. So to do that, we have to import a class called standard scalar from the module pre-processing from scikit-learn. Okay, so after that, create an instance of the class. There is no parameters to be passed here. Okay, so for execute these two lines. Once the object is created, SE is an object here. Through that object, we are going to invoke a method fit and transform. Okay, so we will fit the model and transform the data into the trained data set. Okay, that is for XTrain. And after you fit and transform the data, that means after you apply the standardization feature scaling mechanism to the data, update that data to the existing XTrain data. Okay, so do that, execute that line of code, and after that you apply only the transformation technique to the testing. Okay, so for the training we are applying fit and transform. For the test we apply only the test transform method. Okay, so execute this line of code. Now you can go and check, verify whether everything has been scaled or not, and you can see that we are able to scale all the data in all the respective columns. So all the data will range from -3 to +3. Okay, usually there are two mechanisms here, normalization and standardization. So we are applying standard scalar method. Okay, so after applying this feature scaling mechanism, now it's time to apply the principal component analysis. That means we are going to build our first model. Okay, now we are going to apply the dimensionality reduction technique for the data set what we have. Okay, so to do that, we have to import the PCA class. Okay, you can see here the import PCA. So we have to import the PCA class from the module decomposition. Okay, we have to import this PCA class from the module decomposition, because all these algorithms will exist in scikit-learn library. So this will be common for all, and from this you have to import some module called a decomposition. From this module we are going to import a class called PCA, right? So now let's create the instance of the class and store it in an object called PCA. So the name also we had kept it as PCA, and we can see that while creating an instance we have to pass few parameters. So here there is only one parameter to be passed here. Okay, so the argument to pass in the final number of extracted features. So you want to say how many features you would like to have as a final feature. As of now you have 12 to 13 features, right? Now you have to tell how many features you would like to have after you apply the dimensionality reduction technique. Okay, so for let us in this case study what we are going to do means, since we would like to visualize this, okay, using the plotting, so what we will do means we will utilize only for two features. So we just want as an end result only two features by trying to reduce the 14 features to 2 features. Okay, so that's the reason we had given n underscore components equal to 2. So you can try for more than 2 features like 3, 4 and 5, but since I would like to visualize this in a 2-dimensional, so I want to reduce the features to 2. Okay, that it is not any thumb rule that we have to write only 2, but you can write any number. But since we would like to visualize in the using a graph, then we required only 2-dimensional for each dimensional for each feature. So that's the reason we had given n underscore component is equal to 2. Okay, so we do that, and later we will apply this to the training and test set, okay, to reduce the number of features. So what we do means, after writing these 2 lines, execute these 2 lines of code, and of course after that we are going to fit and transform the PCA to the trained data set and to the test data set. The same concept will repeat here. Do this job, and now we have converted the multiple features reduced to the 2 features. Now let us go and test. Okay, you can see that in the xtrain we had so many features. Now it has reduced only to the 2 features. What has actually happened here is, it tried to understand the correlation among all the attributes. Okay, it tried to understand the correlation among all the attributes. It identified and detected, and finally it extracted only 2 features among them. That is why PCA comes under feature extraction, not feature selection. Okay, feature extraction. So we had extracted 2 features from the multiple features by identifying and detecting the correlation among all the features. That is what we have done here. Okay, so we had applied the PCA. Now it's time to train the logistic regression model on the training set. So we have to have one classifier, right? So PCA is not a classifier. PCA is a dimensionality reduction technique. So we had reduced the number of features what we had it in a data set. Now it's time to apply some classification algorithm in machine learning. And of course I had already taken up this session earlier on logistic regression. So I'm applying the same model here. Okay, so what I do means, I import a class called logistic regression from the module linear_model. Okay, and after that I'm going to create an instance of the class, and by passing the parameter random state equals 0 and put it in an object classifier, and through this object I invoke a method fit, and I'm going to fit the model to the trained data set, that is xtrain and ytrain. So this is how we are able to build a logistic regression classification model here, right? So we have built the model and we are trained it using the trained set, which are those xtrain and xtrain data set. Okay, xtest we are using it for testing, right? Now what we do means, we will try to estimate our model. Okay, so how do we estimate the performance of the model? By making use of some confusion matrix here. Okay, let us try to do that. So what we need to do here, we have to import the classes here, confusion matrix and accuracy score, from the module metrics, and try to predict the xtest here. Okay, we want to predict xtest, not xtrain, and put it in the ypred. Okay, after we do that, we are going to create an instance of the confusion matrix and pass these values, right? Ytest and ypred, and store it in the variable cm, confusion matrix, and print that value. Now let's see how many right predictions and wrong predictions have been made. So since you can see here, the result is in 3-dimensional, right? Because we have 3 segments, right? Customer segment 1, customer segment 2, and customer segment 3. So since 3 are there, we have 3 3-dimensional array here. Okay, so I think 1 wrong predictions has been made. Rest of the predictions are proper here. Okay, 1 wrong predictions have been made, right? Now let us understand the accuracy of the model. To estimate the accuracy, we have to call the method. So we have to call the class and pass these 2 parameters, ytest and ypred. And after this, let us see what is the accuracy of the model. That is 97.2%. Okay, so it's a good accuracy. Now after that, we are going to try to visualize the training set results. Okay, to do that we have to write this code here. We are making use of this matplotlib library, and we are going to import a class called listed color map. Okay, through which we are going to visualize the each and every segments. Okay, in each segment we'll be able to see the different alcohol to which it belongs to. Okay, whenever you bring any new alcohol, okay, new wine, we will be able to tell that this particular wine belongs to what kind of customer segments. Okay, so let us try to visualize it. First I'm going to visualize the training set results here, and after I execute this line of code, we can see that output in the plot section. Okay, so I hope it is visible here. So actually what we have here is we have two principal components, right? PC1 and PC2. So we have PC1 on x-axis and PC2 in a y-axis, and then these are all the different regions. Okay, blue region, customer segment 3, customer segment 2, and customer segment 1. Now here each wine of which the extracted coordinate of PC1 and PC2 are in the blue region will be predicted to belong to customer segment number 3. Okay, and green region here for prediction number 2, where all the wines which the PC1 and PC2 extracted features that fall on this green region will be predicted to belong to customer segment number 2. And finally this red region, so this corresponds to the customer segment number 1. Whatever is there inside with which all the wines information are extracted here due to the PC1 and PC2 fall in this region will be predicted to belong to customer segment number 1 here. Okay, also we can see few incorrect predictions. You can see some green color in the blue region and red color in the green region, and also some green in the red region. So these are few of the wrong predictions been made. Okay, now we can also try to overcome this by applying some other techniques in dimensional reduction technique. Okay, we are going to learn that also. So we can apply kernel PCA or another very important, most commonly used dimensional reduction technique known as LDA, linear discriminant analysis. So, okay, so with that we had seen the visualization of the training set results. Now let us apply it for the test result, and let us try to visualize that too. Okay, okay, now we can see it very clear here. Here also based on this PC1 and PC2 it is able to distinguish the results properly here. So none of the blue regions is having any kind of wrong predictions here. Green also has done proper job, but only for the red region we have one wrong predictions, and that we had seen already in the confusion matrix, right? For the test set only one wrong predictions has been made, and we can also make this to 100% by applying kernel PCA or linear discriminant analysis. Okay, let us also try to analyze that algorithm. So in the same algorithm here, so we can just change this principal component analysis to the kernel principal component analysis. Okay, so as I had already taken this one session on support vector machines. So whenever we want a linear one, so we use a normal mechanism like SVM, and for the non-linear data observations and all, we usually make sure we use kind of kernel functions here. Okay, so radial basis function methodology we are going to apply it for the this technique, and we'll see whether we are going to get a better results or not. So what we do means we are going to convert this into kernel PCA. To do that, instead of PCA I need to write here kernel PCA. Okay, I need to write here kernel PCA. Okay, so this is the method, this is the class we are going to call it here. Okay, kernel PCA, and of course we can also change the name of this variable to KPCA, kernel PCA, and create an instance of this class. Okay, we'll keep up the same final features. Okay, let us keep it to only 2, and of course through this object KPCA we are going to fit and transfer for the training set, and for transformation also we are going to keep the same. And along with that we have to along with this components we have to mention the kernel here. So what is the kernel we are going to mention here? Let us write kernel is equal to, in a single quote we have to write RBF, radial basis function. Okay, so we are done with this, and now we are going to apply it for the same data set, and let us try whether we are going to get 100% result or not. Okay, so we are done till here. So these lines of code I'm going to execute it again till the confusion matrix, and let us try to analyze the output here. Okay, I think I done a small mistake here. Okay, I forgot to write L. Okay, anyways, yeah, we are done with that. Now let us try to execute these lines of code. Yes, after executing these lines of code, we can see here is we don't have any wrong predictions. Okay, everything is right here. So due to kernel PCA, we are able to correct those wrong predictions which has been made during PCA, and now we are able to get 100% accuracy for this. Okay, now let's try to visualize the results here for the training and testing here. Okay, due to kernel PCA, it is able to extract the features in its own way. Okay, now let us try how the features have been extracted here, and you can see based on the features extracted, the boundaries has been made here. Okay, and you can see there are very except one or two, rest all the features, the observations are properly classified here. Okay, it is classified properly based on the customer segments. Now let us try to visualize it for the test set so that we can get a correct picture here. Yeah, yes, so based on the features extracted by the kernel principal component analysis, we are able to classify the data well enough to the various customer segments, and you can see there is not even one single wrong predictions been made by the model. Okay, everything is right. Correct? Yes. So this is how the kernel PCA and the PCA will work, and which will help in reducing the dimensions of the data set. Okay, if you have data set more than 40 features and all, you can definitely apply this dimensionality reduction technique, so that during the training phase of the model, no, it will be very feasible. Or else what happens means, if there are too much of features, then while training the data, somewhere the misinterpretations may happen. Okay, since this dimensionality reduction is not only trying to reduce the data, but also it tries to understand the correlations among the data. So that is the plus point of it. It understands the correlation, then it tries to reduce the data to the number of features what you are given. Okay, so this is an add-on advantages whenever you whenever you have a large data set with a n number of features. Then I suggest all of you to apply this dimensionality reduction technique. Then you classify the model with any one of the classification algorithms. Okay, so now let us go to the another mechanism which is well known in the dimensional reduction technique, is known as linear discriminant analysis, and we are going to apply this for the same data set. Okay, just to have a comparative analysis based on how PCA works, how kernel PCA works, how linear discriminant analysis work. So based on that, we would like to apply to the same case study. Okay, now before I proceed further, let me give a small introduction to linear discriminant analysis. So linear discriminant analysis is commonly used as a dimensionality reduction technique. It is used in the pre-processing step for pattern classification and machine learning algorithm, and the main goal is to project a dataset onto a lower dimensional space. Okay, and with respect to this principal component analysis, linear discriminant analysis tries to differ. Okay, because in addition to finding the component axis with the LDA, we are interested in the axis that minimize that maximize the separation between the multiple classes. So what it mainly does is it tries to increase the separation between the multiple classes. Okay, to break it down further, the main goal of LDA is to project a feature space onto a small subspace K while maintaining the class discriminatory information. And both of these PCA and LDA are linear transformation techniques which are used for dimensionality reduction. Okay, so PCA is described as unsupervised, but LDA is a supervised. You know why? Because of the relation to the dependent variable. Okay, it tries to engage the relation to the dependent variable. That's the reason it is a supervised technique. And similar to PCA, we can accomplish the concept of LDA in 5 major steps. The first step is to compute the computation of d-dimensional mean vectors, and then the computation of the scatter matrices, and later you have to also compute the eigenvectors, sort these eigenvectors by decreasing the eigenvalues, and use d times k eigenvector matrix to transform the samples onto the new subspace. Okay, so with this introduction, now let us try to implement this algorithm using Python. So since I'm applying it for the same case study, starting from the importing the libraries up till feature scaling, all are same. Okay, so I don't want to repeat this step, so I simply would like to execute these lines of code. So before that, I need to set my path. Okay, as you can see that I had set the path here. Now let me execute the lines of code till here. Okay, these are same common. Yes, we have successfully able to import the libraries, data set. We had split the data set into training and testing. Also, we had applied the feature scaling mechanisms here. Okay, everything is ready now. Now let us try to apply the linear discriminant analysis. Now to do that, we have to import linear discriminant analysis class, but not from the same module. There is a small change here. Okay, in the principal component analysis, we had used decomposition, right? Decomposition, but here we are going to use a discriminant analysis module. Okay, discriminant underscore analysis model from the same library scikit-learn, right? Later on, we create an instance of that class. As you can see, this big name, we had kept one alias name like LDA. Okay, so we can use LDA here. So I'm creating an instance of the class by keeping the same number of components. This is the final features you would like to have after you apply LDA, that is 2. And later on, we are going to apply this technique to the trained data set. Okay, that is fit and transform to the X train and Y train. Finally, we'll apply only the transformation technique for the test data set, and we'll execute these lines of code. Now we can see in the output that whether the data set has been reduced, okay, with the 2 features. So that is what we can see it here. So everything is scaled here, and we are left out with only 2 features now. Now it's time to apply the same algorithm, logistic regression algorithm. We are going to apply it here. Let us apply that. Yes, we are ready with that. Now let us see the confusion matrix and the accuracy. Now let us try to estimate the performance of the model after we apply linear discriminant analysis dimensional reduction technique. Okay, excellent. Now we can see that without even having a kernel PCA, comparatively to the PCA, we are getting 2% better result here. So none of the data have been wrongly predicted here. Every data have been rightly predicted. You can see that 16 plus 4, 14, 30, 30 plus 6, 36. Okay, out of 180, 36 data we have taken. All the 36 data have been rightly predicted, and of course it has put up in the right segments. Okay, so we get 100% result here. Now let us try to visualize the output here for the training set results. Now we can see it in the plot section. Yes, this is the training set result after we apply LDA. Okay, so you can see that based on the features extracted by the linear discriminant analysis, we are able to clearly separate these classes. Okay, actually there are 3 classes. So these 3 classes has been clearly separated after we apply linear discriminant analysis, and this is the main goal and add-on advantage of LDA over PCA. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, it clearly tries to separate these classes based on the features extracted. Okay, and and it's simply superb. You can see that none of the wrong predictions has been made during the training stage. Okay, now similarly we are going to visualize the test set results, and let us see that now. And yes, based on the training, even the test set also has given the right prediction for all the values here. Right, this is not even a single wrong predictions. Okay, you can see there is one single observation which is at the border, but still based on the features extracted, LDA has successfully tried to separate these classes in a right category. Okay, and you can see there are customer segment number 1, 2 and 3. None of the wrong predictions has been made. Of course, the wine merchant will be very happy to offer a specific wine to the particular customers here. So I hope all of you understood that why do we require dimensionality reduction technique in a while we build up a model. Okay, and we had seen in this session 3 major dimensionality reduction techniques on feature extraction. First one is the principal component analysis, and to make it still better we had applied kernel PCA, and the very next technique what we had applied is linear discriminant analysis. Okay, so with this I'd like to end this session. Thank you so much for watching this video, and happy learning.